Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Barakahak Wadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who ruled and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure unto the end. This is the brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson, and I'm going to start it off in Revelation chapter 6, verse 5. And this is dealing with, the black horse, the so-called four horsemen of the apocalypse, which are just things that were symbolic for what would be taking place in the last days, which we're currently in, really the last seconds of the last days. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Verse 6, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And when we go to that word penny in the Strong's Concordance, it's G1220 denarion, which in the outline of biblical usage says a Roman silver coin in New Testament times. It was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. From the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, it would seem that a denarius was then the ordinary pay for a day's wages, because in the ancient world, and according to our law, a man was paid for the work he did that very same day he worked. But like I started off with saying, that this is just the four horsemen are symbolic of things that would be taking place in the last days. This isn't talking about ancient Rome. This is talking about modern day Rome, the United States of America. So the denarion, or the principal silver coin today, would be that U.S. dollar. And most people have a wage to where they get paid every 2 weeks. So a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny. So using damn near your entire paycheck to pay, for goods whose prices have gone up. And not just that, the quality and the quantity has gone down. And I opened up the video with these verses to preface this clip, going into just that, on a Secular Talks YouTube channel titled Price of Basic Goods Surge Out of Control as Americans Revolt. And as we're going to see, since 2019, there's been exponential increases on the prices of gas and utility, car notes, food, many different things. Due to what? Inflation, and, the U.S. dollar losing its purchasing power in value, which is only going to intensify because the elites who truly run America are running a demolition operation on this country, to get rid of the dollar and to get rid of, fiat currency in general, to bring about the mark of the BEAST in Revelation 13, verses 16 to 17, which is the micro C-hip implant. And, it just came out that Elon Musk said he expects to ramp up, people getting Neuralinks in 2026 as well. 2026 is looking to be a very digital year. Digital IDs, digital currencies, a digital society. But I'm going to play about the first 6 minutes or so of this video. It's a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
All right, guys, so it's been a drip of horrible news on the economy that I've been delivering for you, but let me give you some more sharp numbers here to really put a finer point on it. So look at this. This is CNBC posted this. They say the following: consumer categories with the most inflation since the pandemic. So what they did is they looked at the price of goods and how much it changed since November of 2019. Now, look, I know I'm ancient. I'm old as hell. I'm 37, but I feel like I'm 102. And so you tell me 2019, and my mind goes, oh, that was just yesterday. Like, that is not that long ago at all. right? Well, take a look at this. This is insane. Motor vehicle insurance has gone up 56.1% since 2019. Gas has gone up 48.8%. Motor vehicle maintenance, 48.8%. Coffee, 46.1%. Electricity, 40.4%. Meats, so like meats, including poultry and fish, 38.1%. Food away from home, like restaurant food, 34.8%. Used cars and trucks, 33.6%.
A measure of wheat for a penny, 3 measures of barley for a penny. And also, what do you have taking place? The price of gold and silver, increasing at a rapid pace. Why? Because again, the value of the dollar is decreasing and people are trying to rush into hard assets to soften the blow when it finally hits.
Rent of a primary residence up 30.8%. Bread up 29.4%. Housekeeping supplies. So, like Windex, fucking mops and shit like that. 26.2%. All items have gone up 26%. Alcoholic beverages away from home went up 25.9%. Personal care products, so like shit you buy like CVS or Walgreens, 24.9%. All items less food and energy, 24.7%. Milk went up 24.1%. New cars and trucks went up 22.6%. This is an astonishing increase since 2019. This is an astonishing increase since 2019. And so when you look at this massive backlash against Trump, where Trump's approval rating on the economy is 35%, this is at the heart of it. His approval rating being under 40%, this is at the heart of it. Now, of course, you have other things that play a role. I think the Epstein files play a role, for example. I think the corruption and the destroying of the East Wing and building the billionaire ballroom and shit like that, I think that all plays a role. But at the core of it, at the end of the day, I think this is it. I think this is like the thing people can't get over, is because Trump did say on day one, I'll reduce prices on day one, we'll kill inflation on day one. And here we are, about a year in, and every single thing has gotten worse. Inflation is out of control. Unemployment is out of control. About 34% of the entry-level jobs are now gone. They're gone now because ChatGPT is basically taking those jobs. Not only that, but he destroyed the social safety net. As you all know, they kicked 18 million people off Medicaid. They raised health insurance.
Where you say, 34% of entry-level jobs gone due to, ChatGPT or AI getting rid of jobs. Automation as well, which, all the, pundits out here saying 2026 is going to see a lot of job losses out here due to AI and automation. This is Isaiah chapter 19. I'm going to read verses 14 to 15. Yahweh hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt, and this isn't talking about ancient Egypt, but spiritual Egypt, as pursuant to Revelation 11, verse 8, America, to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. And, a bunch of people voted for Nero 47, Trump to get into office, believing the lies he said to make this country great again. But what? He's backtracked on damn near everything, and all the moves he's making are putting this country, in the opposite direction, on a even faster decline. Verse 15, neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. The head, white collar jobs, all the way down to the tail, blue collar jobs. Amazon just recently talked about letting go 30,000 corporate level workers. And then, as Kyle Kulinski just said, 34% of entry level jobs being axed. The tail. Let's run it back a little bit.
ChatGPT is basically taking those jobs. Not only that, but he just are now on.
Salaki is Satan gonna have it acting goofy now.
Because ChatGPT is basically taking those jobs. Not only that, but he destroyed the social safety net. As you all know, they kicked 18 million people off Medicaid. They raised health insurance premiums for everybody in the country. They cut the SNAP program. They cut 94 million pounds of food aid that went to food banks so people were hungry during the holidays, right? You put all this together, and you can see, I don't see a fucking rebound coming.
Hey, preaching to the choir. But then, Kyle Kulinski just went into a bunch of, government benefit and aid programs getting cut, hurting people out here. Hey, because Esau, the so-called white man, especially through Trump's administration, is putting the squeeze on you Americans, cutting off the fat, so to speak. This is Isaiah chapter 32. I'm going to read verse 5. The vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. And this vile person is speaking of Esau, Edom. And as it said, he shall no more be called liberal. And when we go to the definition for that word liberal, it's H5081 Nadib, which says what? Inclined, willing, noble, generous, such as what? Money for government programs, helping out the so-called poor and needy. Trump's cutting all that off. A couple of months ago, they cut off hundreds of millions of dollars to the U.S. food aid to different countries, which is going to lead to starvation for a lot of people, especially a lot of children out here. And again, as Kyle Kulinski was going into, a lot of these government programs either being taken out of the way or heavily reduced, and new requirements for people to continue getting benefits out here.
I don't see a rebound coming. I fear of a colossal crash that makes 2008 look like child's play. How about this? Let me show you guys this. The average American household now owes $10,000 in credit card debt, $58,957 in student loan debt, $241,840 in mortgage debt, and $22,612 in auto loans, according to a survey by Policy Genius. So people are drowning in debt. They're drowning in debt. People are not making enough money to pay the bills. They were already in a paycheck-to-paycheck scenario. We talked about how people who were going Christmas shopping, they were using Klarna for that. People are using Klarna for groceries. I mean, we're talking about like microloans with high interest rates just to get the necessities and get through the day. This is completely and utterly unsustainable.
It's Haggai chapter 1, verse 6. Ye have sown much and bring in little. People working 2 to 3 jobs out here just to what? Get heavily taxed. And then with the little money they do have, pay for increasing car notes, increasing bills, increasing price of food. Ye eat, but have not enough. You can find plenty of videos on social media, people saying, I'm having to skip a meal, either to feed my children or, eat once a day because I just can't afford it. Hey, I either pay for the gas to get to work or I pay for the meal I'm going to eat for dinner, not both. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. People getting deeper and deeper into debt out here and having to get buy now, pay later, loans and cards just to keep their head above the water.
And by the way, the regime is acting like everything's great. Trump has his head shoved directly up his anus, and he's walking around like everything's great. The golden age is here. The golden age is amazing. We love the American golden age. Meanwhile, people are fucking, they're dying out there, man. They are dying out there. And so this should absolutely be a wake-up call to the regime that, like, bro, this chart right here, this first chart that we went through, I'm sorry, there's no amount of political bullshit that can override that. And that's the lesson Trump will never learn, because his whole life it's effectively been the opposite of that. He's bent reality to his will by being a phenomenal bullshitter, right? What does he do? He repeats his arguments over and over and over and over and over. He just He's a right-wing postmodernist. He creates this new reality that he wants to live in through force and repetition. But he might get away with that in some fields. Like, I think he largely gets away with that on foreign policy. He got away with that with his fake Gaza peace agreement, where his approval rating is above water because he just lied about getting a peace agreement in Gaza. You can't get away with that on the economy, because you can go out there and say, everything's great, everything's amazing, actually. But when people have firsthand experience of, hey, bro, my light bill went up 13%. I can't fucking pay that. Coffee's up 50%. I can't pay that. Right? And the list goes on and on. There's no amount of sophistry that gets you out of that. So people know exactly where to put the blame. They know exactly what's going on here. And they know that Trump is self-interested. What was that poll? We covered it the other day. I'm forgetting.
Hey, and it's going to get to the point as the situation deteriorates in America that people are really going to start taking to the streets and fighting back. Which brings me to my last precept in 2 Esdras chapter 15, verse 16. Hey, the bread and circus, and as Kyle Kulinski said, the sophistry can only last for so much longer. For there shall be sedition among men, and sedition means conduct or speech, and conduct, physical action, or speech inciting open rebellion against a ruling authority or monarch. For there shall be sedition among men, civil unrest, and invading one another, violence. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. And your modern day kings and princes are these people in the government. You know, the mayor, the governor, senators, congressmen, president, as well as the authorities like the military or the police that uphold the system. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. When these people's backs are truly against the wall and their stomachs are touching their backs, and they're watching their families suffer, hey, a suit and a tie, fair speeches, a badge or a uniform isn't going to matter. People are going to get it how they live out here, and you're truly going to see what a dog-eat-dog world looks like. But, as I say, with this video, I hope you sincere, Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time.